Hey there, I'm Heidi Swapp, and today I'm going to teach you a cute, fun little mini book hack that is so easy, and all you need is this brand new set of Honey and Spice boxed cards, 2 pieces of chipboard, super easy, some adhesive, and a trimmer. All right, so you guys, my brand new collection of Honey and Spice is just yummy. It's wonderful tones, like autumny tones, and I'm just going to pull some of these cards out so that you can see them. So I did something a little bit different that I've actually never done on one of these boxed card sets. Usually at American Crafts, we like to create a boxed card set that will go with each collection. Well, in the past, we kind of always put like a little Heidi Swapp logo on the back. And I finally was like, you know, I want to be able to use these boxed cards for more than just cards. So let me show you what I'm talking about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a few of these cards. So here's what I did. I put a different pattern on the front of the card and the back of the card. What that does, number one, is it makes it easy for you to like choose which side of the card that you want to craft with. So you get so many patterns, and what's really great, like when you buy a collection card pack, obviously all the patterns just go together beautifully, but maybe you want to mix them up, you know? So, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just pulling these out, and I'm just going to kind of unfold them so you can see how they look. Now, for this project, you can choose however many pages you want this little mini book to be. So maybe I'll start with about 12. All right, so you can see how fun they are, and actually I have a few more in here. This one is the same on both sides because this fun stripe pattern is a total fave. So you get, you get 4 of each one of these card designs when you buy a card set. So really, you can make cards, you can make mini books, so many things that you can do. So what you're going to do is open it up and actually fold it inside out. So you're going to take a minute to fold each one of the cards backwards. All right. Now you want to make sure that you really get that crease nice and tight. Now, if you've followed me for a while, you've heard me talk about a back-to-back bookbinding system because I teach it all the time. So what we're going to actually do to create the inside of this book is actually adhere the back of each card to the back of the next card, and so on. So when you're determining how many pages or how you really want this book to look, you're going to be able to, you'll know how thick it is by how they're all stacked. Now, then this is where the chipboard comes in. This is going to be the front and back cover of my little card book. So you want to cut those chipboard pieces just exactly the same, or maybe slightly larger than the cards. All right, so now the hard thing, you guys, is always going to be choosing the front and the back of the cover. So I'm actually just going to take, this one is my favorite, and I have just the photos that will look perfect with this set. So all I'm going to do is cut it right in half. I've already pre-cut my chipboard, and whenever I'm adhering paper onto chipboard, I like to put the adhesive on the paper rather than on the chipboard. So I'm going to go ahead and add the adhesive, and I want to add the adhesive as close to the edge without going over as possible. And then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that right to the chipboard. Okay, now that I've got the front and the back ready to go, I can start looking at the patterns. Now, you might kind of want to choose how you want the pattern to flow, how you want the colors to flow. So you can switch them up, down, inside out, decide what kind of color flow that you want. Pop this guy in there. Okay, so now I've got the order that I want them to go in. I'm going to start with the very first one on top. So again, I'm going to add the adhesive right around the edges, and I want the adhesive to go as close to the edge as I can without going over. So, and then I usually put just a little bit right in the middle. Now you want to kind of make sure that you're going in the right direction. And the thing that you just want to remember is you really want the creases of each one of these pages to really line up. So that's where I like to pay attention. Make sure that those creases are nice and even, and then everything else should line up. All right, so that's how this first page is going to look. The front page will open, and that will go right into my second page. So we're going to go ahead and do that for all of these pages. Okay, I'm coming up on the very last piece here, and I've been making sure that all the creased edges really line up nice and tight. And because this is really serving as holding the book together, we really want to make sure that this back edge where the creases are is nice and tight. So you really want to kind of put some pressure, make sure that those creases are nice and tight. And now you can see how you can go through. Oh, I've got a little bit of glue there. So sometimes I have to do just a little bit of cleanup. I'm going to go through, and you're just going to make sure that each one of the pages is nice and adhered down, so there's no bubbles and no creases. Okay, so now that we have the inside of our book, we can put the covers on. So again, this is going to be my front cover. I'm going to have it just like this, and my back cover just like this. All right, so I'm going to start out by, again, I want to put the adhesive on the paper, and I'm using the exact same method that I've used, adding that adhesive to the very edge without going over. And I'm going to put the front cover on all the way to the corner, lining up the creases, and it should just fit on really nice and neat. Now I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the back. All right. Now I usually like to add just a little bit of detail on the spine. You could leave it open if you want to, but I think that I would like to choose, kind of sift around in here and choose another piece that would coordinate well. Let's see. I really love that black and white with it. This one's also, yeah, let's go with that. All right, so what you need is a piece about 3 inches wide. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim this card down to 3 inches wide. Now here you can decide about how much you want on the front and how much you want on the back. So here's what I do, kind of eyeball it. It's kind of a small book, so I only like to leave about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch over the top. I line it up on the bottom, and this is where I kind of just do a little crease there with my thumb, and then bend it around to the back and do another little crease. So now you see how I've kind of just done a little pinch crease, and that tells me where I need to fold it. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the front over. You could also measure and score it if you want to be a little bit more precise, in order to make sure that it's straight. I'm just lining up the bottom and really making sure that I've got nice sharp creases. All right, now my spine is going to kind of have a front, and then the back where the binding is, and then this will go on the back of the book. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put the adhesive on everywhere but in the very middle of that spine. We don't want any adhesive there. So again, I'm going to stick the adhesive right along the edges without going over, and all the way up to that crease in the middle. Okay, now I usually like to start with the front. So I will put the front on, lining the bottom to be straight, and then aligning the crease with the very edge of the book, just like that. So the crease of my paper is just going right along that crease, that edge of the chipboard. Then I'm going to wrap it around, and the crease on the back, that fold of the binding piece is going to line up with the edge of the chipboard, and then I'm just going to wrap it around. Make sure it's straight all the way down the book. And then just with your fingers, really make sure that you're pressing down so that the adhesive is catching on all 4 sides. All right. And then I just like to kind of bend it. So there you go. That's all it takes. So now, the next time that you maybe think about sending a card, you could actually really, almost just as quickly, whip up a little mini book. You could throw some photos in, write a little story. You could add some stamping or embellishments on the front. But this is a really fun way to very quickly use this adorable card set to make a really fun mini. Thanks for watching, and go now and make some pretty stuff.